roll some? Can I keep it lit? Can I smoke some? Can I be about a grip? Can I stack up? Can I say money talk? I don't flap guns. Can I play a low key? Mask up? Can I keep it on me? Stay strapped up? Can I hit it face down? Ass up? Can I say we had of my time? They can't laugh us.
What up, fantasy football hustler, and oh yeah, my version is better. What up, rum boys and rum girls? Here we go, and you know it's not just me here. You know it's not. Guess who's backstage? You already know. Let me bring out my man, Bogart Scott Free.
What the rock is cooking.
Woo! Yeah! It is I, Bogey, the one and only, no phony, no baloney, no jabroni. What's happening?
There we go, cutting a promo on your ass. See, just like a little entrance music out there, it just brings it out.
Hey, Hustle, man, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Real hyped up because you know I love talking about rankings. You already know that. Love it. So we got one of the best in right now. Someone who's way ahead of the game.
Man, and with no further ado, I want to introduce, by way of Lafayette, Louisiana, representing the Guru Nation, is our guy, my brother from another, Spencer the Guru.
What's poppin', fellas?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
What's happening, Guru? Welcome back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is lovely, man. Actually, you know, at the dawn of this show, you know what I mean? Both of you guys made your debut at the same time. And as it has now, my man, the Hustler, is one of our proud hosts of My Version's Better. And man, Spencer, you know, before we started this whole thing, you know, I always told you, man, I want you to be a regular on here. And here we are. Pleasure to bring you back, my brother.
Right on. Thanks for having me back, fellas. It's going to be a great episode. I can feel it. I can feel it in my spirit. Man. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I can feel it in my bones.
Right.
And this is what we're going to do here, Rumboyz and girls. We're going to go ahead and attack some early 2021 redraft rankings, every position. My man, the Guru, impeccable rankings. Always a fan of his work. Matter of fact, the first time I ever worked with you, we were actually doing this concept. We were doing rankings debates. You know what I mean? So it's a pleasure to bring you on here. We're going to go ahead and get to your rankings. But before we do all that, we're going to handle some quick housekeeping. Let's go ahead and tell y'all, Rumboyz and girls, about our proud sponsor, monkeyknifefight.com. Head on over to monkeyknifefight.com. Download the MKF app. Promo code Rumboyz will get you well on your way to matching that first deposit all the way up to 50 smackers. We got baseball in full swing, and we knocking it out the park every time. Get in on some home run derby action for this daily fantasy sports prop action. Once again, head on over to monkeyknifefight.com. Use promo code MKF. Oh, I'm sorry. Almost botched that. Promo code Rumboyz in all caps. And no cap, we matching that first thing all the way up to 50 smackers. Monkey Knife Fight, give me my name. Also, Rumboyz and girls, we want to let you guys know about our partners over there at SportsMe. It's a bloody, cutthroaty battle app for all you sports lovers and content creators of all walks of life. Download the SportsMe app. We're gonna go ahead and drop that link into the chat. Shout out to what is it called? What was that thing called?
Streamlabs.
Yeah, Streamlabs. Give me money. You know what I mean? So Rumboyz and girls, be sure to download the SportsMe app. Shout out to Jeff and Derek and Robbie and everybody over there at SportsMe. Y'all doing your thing. Thoroughly enjoying the cutthroatiness. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if you want to debate the likes of me, the SportsMe Savage, or the Fantasy Football Hustler 420, or even my man Spencer the Guru, Yeah, this is going out to all the Run Boys and girls and all the Guru Nation. Download the SportsMe app. There's a battle waiting for you right now. Hey.
Oh, yeah, I got to get back on old SportsMe, man. I was having some fun
yeah.
with that right before the NFL draft. I have to get back on it, man. It was it's a good deal. It's a good app.
And what's dope is you don't even have to come up with, your own topic. You could just jump on there, go see what other people are talking about, go chime in and tell them why your version's better.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Matter of fact, I'm like, I basically, I think I've only posted like 5 battles that I started, you know what I mean? But I'm on everybody's joint. You know what I mean? I'm lurking in the cuts, waiting for a battle. You know what I mean? But yeah, fellas. So let's get right to it. Let's say we start at, let's start with the head of the body. One of the most, arguably the most, actually hands down the most important position in NFL. And some will argue in single QB, it's not that important. But hey, we also talking super flex, everything. We're gonna start with the QB rankings. Go ahead. Let's go ahead and pop this thing up. Yep. All right. And my man, the Guru, go ahead and walk us through these rankings here. Let's see what you got here for us.
All righty. Yeah, my QB rankings is at the first position I tackled. And to start off, I had to go with the big dog Patrick Mahomes at number 1, followed by Kyler Murray at number 2, Josh Allen, number 3. Those are all elite QB1s. Then we got Lamar Jackson at number 4, Dak Prescott coming off surgery, should be good to go at number 5, Russell Wilson at number 6. Hopefully they'll let Russ cook. If they do, he might exceed that ranking. Justin Herbert, number 7, wouldn't expect too much of a sophomore slump there. Aaron Rodgers, number 8, a big mystery, could rise depending on where he ends up or could fall. We don't really know. It's a big mystery right now. Jalen Hurts at number 9, a dual threat option, going to run a lot. Matt Stafford at number 10, new system should help him blossom. Tom Brady at number 11, the ageless one. He's got all kind of weapons. He'll be just fine despite being, I believe, now 43 years old. And number 12, this is tough for me. If the Titans can bring in another weapon, I'd say keep Tannehill here. Julio. But yeah, possibly Julio. But I'm starting to feel the Joe Burrow hype. So don't be surprised if Joe Burrow cracks this top 12.
Okay, so let's get into this right out the gate. So, matter of fact, I'm going to be talking about rankings that you haven't seen of mine, right? So, and for all you Run Boys and girls out there, we're going to let you know in a few here where you could find the Bogard rankings. You know what I mean? Over on the draft kit we got coming for y'all. But so far, I actually have Kyler Murray at number 1.
Ooh, interesting.
Oh,
interesting.
Spicy.
Yeah, that is very spicy.
Like as much as we love Mahomes and for having the capability of mobility, he's not a rushing quarterback. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to extend a play and everything like that. But design runs are in the playbook for a Kyler Murray. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like what even though AJ Green isn't the most healthiest guy. I mean, if and when he is healthy on that field, that doesn't do anything for me in fantasy except for make Kyler Murray better. You know what I mean? More weapons to take the top off for him to get them rushing lanes going. You know what I mean? And I also want to say I like Justin Herbert one more spot over Russ because I do think that this is a team that as much as they can to their ability, they're going to run the ball. And it's kind of crazy when you look at Russ's numbers over the past, specifically the past 2 seasons. They're all front loaded of the first half of the year. It's like all of a sudden they get into week 8 and they're like, you know what? Let's try to run. You know what I mean? Because like you said, man, I really hope they do let Russ cook.
Yeah, hopefully so. It's hard to trust it. It's just, I feel like it's kind of I feel like the top 4, honestly, are kind of, if I'm going to take a QB early, I want one of those 4 because Lamar gets that amazing rushing, floor. Like that coming off injury is a little risky, I feel like. And then with Russ, it's nothing to do with injury. It's just the offense, you know. And I think it's going to be a new OC this year, so it's probably going to be a bit of a transition. Could be some ups and downs. Herbert, I mean, I like Herbert. Don't get me wrong. I feel like his hype train might be getting a little bit out of control. I know they've got an improved supporting cast there with the Chargers, but it's like I feel like defenses are going to have a little better read on him to where things might not come quite as easy for him in year 2. A lot of quarterbacks have the sophomore slump, and while I'm not saying he's going to slump, I wouldn't spend like a 5th or 6th rounder on him. There's no way.
So there is a strong realm of possibility that team with a defensive-minded head coach in Staley comes over there and actually turns things around, and they become more of a defensive, run the ball, control the clock. That's in the realm of possibility, a strong realm of possibility. And we kind of wouldn't want that for fantasy. For reality.
Right. Well, yeah.
Like
No way in hell does that happen. Come on, man. You got a gunslinger in Herbert.
Yeah, they don't have
Austin
a workhorse
Eckler.
running back.
I like your version.
Yeah.
I like your version. That's why I got him up above Russ, actually. You know what I mean?
The Chargers are going to be a fantasy offense. I mean, last year they had some injuries on defense. I feel like the top 7, they could be changed around however you want, but I feel like the top 7, those should be the top 7 in everybody's rankings. However you have them fluctuated is up to you. But last year, I feel like it was like there was 5 or 6 where you knew that was like, maybe not tier 1, but those were like the top 2 tiers and like the undoubted, top couple. I feel like number 7 is the breaking point. Once we start getting, into Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, and I want to know why. Obviously, we're assuming you got Aaron Rodgers on Green Bay. Why Jalen Hurts so high? Is it all about rushing?
I was just about to say Hustler, because I know you're not the Jalen Hurts truther by any means.
Okay, yeah, the reason I'm more of a Jalen Hurts truther is because I used to be the opposite as far as I used to hate mobile quarterbacks. He's like, I don't want a quarterback that runs too much. They set themselves up for injury. This is not good. But I feel like as I've come around, I actually like those rushing quarterbacks because they offer such a stable floor, because passing from week to week is kind of it's volatile a lot of times, especially depending on matchup, where rushing, it's like if you have a quarterback that runs, like it helps their consistency out a lot. And so I feel like even if Hurts is erratic as a passer, he's going to run enough to where he'll stay solid. He'll stay consistent, even in the weeks where he's just kind of a clunker as a passer.
And I feel like the pass attempts will be there for him, because that defense has a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? Especially in that secondary. You have Darius Slay. He might shut down one side, if that. But you know what I mean? Like, I see that defense giving up a ton of points. And I mean, then you add in the rushing capability. Matter of fact, I am really big on Hurts this year. I like the range you have him. I would take him over, the Staffords and the Bradys and, everyone in that range. And then speaking of the Staffords and Brady, I'm not super sold on Stafford, because that's another team where if defense and run the ball is in the cards. You know what I mean? Like they do have, they did have the number 1 defense in a lot of metrics. You know what I mean? And same thing with Brady. You know what I mean? So it makes me wonder, like, are they going to be in more controlled situations? Like, but then again, on the flip side, you could say, well, when they had Jared Goff, they had their foot on the gas pedal. But it could be because Jared Goff's not the guy you look to when you're like, all right, we're down 2 scores, 4th quarter, let's go. Like, their best bet with Goff was always to rack up as many points as possible. You know what I mean? So do you see that approach?
I think they're gonna want to keep their foot on the gas, because that's just McVay's style. Like, he's a young, innovative offensive mind. So I think he's going to always want to, keep his foot on the gas. And now that he's got an upgrade at quarterback, I think Stafford's going to have, I don't want to say a career year, because he did have that 5,000-yard year with the Lions, but I definitely think he'll be a lot better than last season, which he was, for fantasy, wasn't all that great. So I think this year he'll be back to QB1 status thanks to McVay's aggressiveness.
And Jared Goff was like a high QB2, last year at certain points. So, I mean, it's more definitely the offense more than it was him. So, so we'll see what happens. But I feel like Stafford can definitely crack, top 12 this year.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of Goff, he's somebody like I actually finished out my QB rankings through 30. I think I had him as QB 29. I don't see him doing anything this year.
Big old dumpster fire. Like that's what it sounds like you think he's going to be this year.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're going to run the ball. I mean, I think Swift will be just fine. I like Swift in the late second range, but the Goff, the passing game, the hell no. I'm not touching him or the receivers. Maybe Hawkinson and Swift, and then the rest is.
So let's play this game real quick. So I like where you have Rodgers. I'm actually a little higher on Rodgers because I do live in a world where he's coming back to Green Bay. But let's let's this game. So let's say he stays in Green Bay, and they go ahead and actually make the move for Julio Jones. How far do we move up? Or how for you, Spencer? How far would you move up Rodgers if they get him good old Double J?
Ooh, yeah, I would move him up at that point. Probably I'd be close with Dak, either fifth or probably fifth, because I'm not super nervous about Dak, but I don't know though if I can like really trust him as like a elite QB1. I think he'll be a for sure QB1. But I think I'd put Rodgers fifth if they pull that off. Yeah.
What about you, Huss? Let's live in a world where Julio Jones goes to Green Bay. How crazy do you think the fantasy community reacts to that?
Oh, it'd go nuts. Like for me, I'd put him behind Josh Allen. I'd throw him at number 4. I mean, look how good he is with one weapon. Like now, Aaron Jones is
for real.
And you get Julio. Like now you have number
top
2.
5.
Like,
yeah, he's top 5 at that point.
Yeah.
I gotta put some respect on Lamar's name though, because a lot of people I think someone in the chat was saying he'd swap Dak and Lamar, but I feel like Lamar with the improved weapons should do better as a passer than he did last season. And we know he's the best rushing quarterback in the league. He's basically 1,000-yard rusher.
I just think he's like he's gonna be like hovering around 3,500 yards passing. So like if he's not going over 25 touchdowns to go along with at least 700 rushing yards, he's not cracking the top 5. You know what I mean? With just passing yards. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm projecting him at around 1,000 rushing yards. So if he hits that, then he'll definitely finish top 5. I feel like as long as he's not total garbage as a passer, which I don't think he will be because now they got Watkins and Bateman.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this other question before we move on to another position. So I am a Niner fan, right? And I distinctly remember when Greg Roman was like, you know what we're finna do here? We're gonna get the pass attempts going. We're gonna turn this thing up a little bit with Kaepernick. And it did not work. You know what I mean? Like they started going 4 wide receiver sets, shit like that. If they do this approach this year, I will say they actually have some phenomenal personnel there to do packages like that. You know what I mean? And it is a copycat league when you look at a team like Buffalo, right? Buffalo's at the top of the league in 4 and 5 wide receiver sets. They run this shit all the time. You know what I mean? Maybe they take a little page out of their book, right? Because now look at this. You got Bateman, Sammy Watkins, Hollywood Brown,
Boykin, Mark Andrews, Duvernay.
His name's Marquise. You got to be a baller to get a nickname, or call him, Hollywood Florida Brown. Call him by.
I was gonna say, he's Florida Brown. There you go. Which just sounds like something I would pass on. Like, anyway, shout out to Florida, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Hey, people from Florida, hey, listen, don't piss anyone off from Florida. You know what I mean? But how about this? Is there any QBs outside of your top 12 here that were like, you were on the cusp of bumping them into this top 12?
Yeah, I gotta say I touched on him actually. Earlier, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow definitely is on the cusp, and Probably he'll crack that top 12 if Tennessee, because when I did this, I was like, man, Tannehill, it's like people don't put enough respect on Tannehill's name. Like he's disrespected big time. But I mean, they did lose Corey Davis. They did lose Jonnu Smith. And so if they don't replace that, which they haven't really done,
they got the legend now, though, bro. They got the legend, Josh Reynolds, bro. The Reynolds rat.
Yeah, Reynolds, and then the rookie could do really well too. There, Des Fitzpatrick. So I mean, they've got options, but Joe Burrow, and then of course to keep the young QB train going, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you can't forget about Trevor Lawrence being a potential QB1 because they've got a lot of weapons there in Jacksonville with DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault. I mean, they got guys.
Travis Etienne.
Okay.
The power of Christ.
Right. Yeah, they got guys. I mean, shoot. There's someone that joking like, oh, will Tim Tebow catch a touchdown this year? Yeah, I think he'll give it multiple touchdowns. He's going to be like the way Taysom Hill has been with the Saints. I think I like that pest role. He's going to be a fantasy pest, but he's going to help them out as a team. And I don't think he's going to really take away too much from Trevor Lawrence. Because I mean, let's face it, if the Urban Meyer's got half a brain, he's not gonna rotate Trevor and Tebow constantly. Trevor's gonna be on the field 95% of the time. Probably more.
I think it would be interesting to have you got Trevor Lawrence and then Tim Tebow's there in the backfield with him. And
maybe like that.
If you hand the ball
you're
off
not
to him,
taking Trevor off the field though.
Yeah. But I'm saying you hand the ball off to a Tebow, he might be able to run that thing. Maybe he passes it. It does add a different dynamic, probably annoying in fantasy.
Yeah.
But I am excited for the outlook for Trevor Lawrence this year. You know what I mean? And I got another one, man, for your Saints, because I do live in the world that Jameis Winston's going to be the guy. I think he's another guy that no one will look at that could crack into the QB1 conversation.
Right. Yeah, it's possible. Assuming he wins the job. He hadn't won the job yet, still competing with Taysom. But assuming he wins it, which I think he will, I was on the Taysom's going to win the job train. But the way the Saints handled the offseason tells me that it's probably not going to be like that because the Saints' skill position depth is very thin. And so I think as a result of that, they're going to want to run an offense where they can use both Taysom and Jameis. Because if Taysom's a starting quarterback, you're not going to really be able to use Jameis at that point. Jameis would just be riding the bench because he can't do the utility role stuff like Taysom. So if Jameis is under center, you can still keep Taysom on the field as the utility weapon, which is what Sean Payton loves him at. So I think that's how it's going to go down for fantasy. I don't think Jameis will quite crack the top 12, but I definitely think it's possible. It's definitely possible considering the Saints defense is probably not going to be too hot this year. So I think he could be a 4,500 plus yard passer if things break right. And then in that case, he might be top 12. Shoot, that's a lot of yards, but he doesn't really run much. That's the downside to Jameis for fantasy. He's not really a rushing option.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the black QBs that's like, nah, I'm throwing it. He's
he's a pure pocket passer. Yeah, he's a pocket passer. Yeah, he's
unless he got them crab legs in his hands, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but before we move on to running backs, if you don't mind me asking, Hustler, I know you said you're not a Hurts fan. Who would you take out of Hurts and Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow. For me.
You go Burrow. Okay. Yeah, because lots have been a hot topic lately because they're both, sophomore quarterbacks. As of now, I'd take Hurts because of the rushing, because coming off knee surgery, I don't think Burrow is gonna run too much, but we'll see. I mean, I think he'll definitely be the better passer, and with Chase there, he could hit that ceiling that a lot of people are thinking. But
I really love Joe Burrow because of the weapons, the weaponry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has 3 solid. Yeah.
He was on pace for a really nice, rookie year, and him and Herbert, I mean, they would have been competing, for rookie of the year had he not got hurt. They were both on really nice paces, for the year. And now you add in Chase, as long as he can stand upright, I feel like he's going over 4,000 yards. So probably going to be flirting with the 30 touchdowns and, possibility for more.
Yeah, and I think he will be a value guy. Like, I mean, people are gonna remember they're gonna remember the torn ACL versus how
that's
good
a
his
serious
pace.
injury. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna remember that injury versus them remembering his pace, because his pace was, like you said, man, he was gonna creep up around, a little over 4th wow, and I mean, he was gonna flirt with like 30 tugs, through the air. I really love Joe Burrow this year. Plus, with that defense, man, it's just. Yeah, he's probably going to be chucking that thing a lot. We're going to see a lot of Joe Burrow in shotgun. I'll tell you that much.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. How about this? Actually, this one more thing. Just thoughts. Am I crazy? If the Magic Man plays all year, I think he cracks his top 12 too. I think he has a better chance of cracking the top 12. I mean, listen, Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, the rookie Brown, and you have Logan Thomas, and then you have, McKissick and Gibson that are utilizing the passing game. I like the Magic Man here.
I like him as a streaming option. That'd be my version on that. Excellent streamer, finishes as a QB2, but I feel like in tough matchups, he's gonna have some weeks where he just folds and throws a bunch of picks. Like that's just the story of his career.
The Magic runs out every 4 or 5 weeks. The Magic runs out, and he has to.
Yeah, it's just the Magic runs out a lot of times, and it's just like, man, because it's like as a fantasy owner, you're like, okay, this is my quarterback, set it and forget it. But I've learned you can't set it and forget it with him. You've got to ride the wave because the magic comes and goes with him. That's just the reality. So that's why I wouldn't trust him as top 12. But
here's one thing that I will say about him. You just got out of playing in the AFC East. Now you're in the NFC East, which is a way nicer division. Like he's got 6 games where he's probably going to be lighting up that thing. And so versus the NFC East, start him.
Right? I like it. All right, so check this out. Let's go ahead and mosey on to these running backs, man, because this is where the bread and butter comes from, for real.
Right.
You know what I mean? And as we creep into this 2021 year, bro, everybody and their mama is heavy running back early. You know what I mean? Like last year, there were still some people that were torn, but man, like I've been in drafts where it's damn near 10 running backs in the first round and like Kelsey and like Hill. You know what I mean? Like, it's been crazy, bro. So let's go ahead.
And that's why my version is better. 1 QB leagues get kind of lame, like it's like you got to have running backs or your team just sucks. Like there's kind of no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let's not spend too much time on the top 12 because I feel like that is everyone knows about the top 12. I'm more interested in the the RB2s that we got.
Oh yeah, I mean, we could take it right there. So,
go ahead. Yeah, I just want to. Can I say a couple things about my top 12?
Go ahead.
All right, Jonathan. I'll say Jonathan Taylor is growing on me. I'm not scared of Marlon Mack and all that. At this point, I think I definitely put him over Aaron Jones because of the shakiness with Aaron Rodgers. And maybe even over Nick Chubb for PPR. I feel like Taylor's a legit RB1. I'm buying him at, around his current ADP, around 6 or 7. I'm perfectly okay with taking him there in single QB leagues. And then another second-year running back that I really like is Cam Akers at 11. I love the Rams offense. Yeah, with Stafford, they're going to be a lot more fantasy friendly just all the way around. They're just going to be scoring more touchdowns. It's going to kind of almost be like that year where I remember where Goff had his career year and Gurley was doing really well. 2018. Yeah, I think Akers. I don't think he'll get the receptions like Gurley got the year, but I think he'll definitely get double-digit TDs and be a RB1 this year.
Bro, I'm on board with that heavy. And the next guy you got up, my man Antonio Banderas Gibson, man. That's one of those guys, man. I'm not going to be shocked if he's, we're talking about him in the top 12. I mean, I know he's right outside of it, but like, man, if we only saw flashes or like a glimpse of what he could be, and in the second year in the NFL with a legit offseason, I think I'm really excited for Antonio Gibson, bro. And go ahead.
Oh, they bogey. Like, you drinking the Washington Kool-Aid. Isn't it? Fitzmagic might be a QB1 and Gibson.
You've been hanging out with Rumboyz Robbie too much. That's what's been going on.
I'll tell you this much. He will actually be the guy that would be like, stop saying my team is so good. I'm like, listen, bro. Like, even last year, like, I had them winning the division. And he was just like, bro, stop saying that. And when it happened, I was just like, bro, I told you my version is better. You know what I mean? Like, but I am excited more so for when it comes to like the value of it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's a second round guy, Antonio Gibson. But if I'm going, say I go Tyreek Hill, like say I'm drafting from the 11 spot in a 12-team redraft, and I get Tyreek Hill, or maybe I get Travis Kelce, and I swing around and get Gibson, bro. Like, I'm happy than a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like because I'm not mad at him being my RB1 is what I'm saying. Him or Cam Akers even, let alone to pair them up with one of them big dogs that go in the first round. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like, you know how nasty it is to start with like a JT and then the Cam Akers or
ooh, yeah, it would be.
You know I mean? Chubb and Gibson, like, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, man, is like just solidifies you, and especially in a single QB. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last year in redraft in a 2 QB league, I got Jonathan Taylor in the 5th round and Antonio Gibson in the 9th round, and those are my 2 starting running backs. And like, there was a couple weeks where it was kind of shaky, but you start getting mid-season, like, man, it was the shit. Because like, even though J.D. McKissick was getting a crazy amount of receptions, Antonio Gibson was still getting like 5 receptions a game.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, so matter of fact, shout out to the homie Sweetness, man. I'm in their dynasty league, and I had just he came at me. I have Gibson and I also have McKissick, and he wanted McKissick. And I also have Aaron Jones, and he had AJ Dillon. So I'm like, all right, well, let's make this happen. You know what I mean? And I start speaking some isms. I'm like, hey, well, you know, he is coming off of 80 receptions, and you know, it's one of those things where it's like, as soon as we make the trade, you know, other people in the league are like, why'd you do that? Like, telling him. And they're like, you know, the Magic Man don't really check it down. He's stretching the field. You know what I mean? Because of course I wasn't going to mention that, you know, during the trade off, you know, talks, but at the same time, hey, he's checking down. Alex Smith is checked down Charlie. You know what I mean? So I am curious to see how all that's going to play out, because McKissick is a guy that they were moving around on the line. He wasn't just, you know, catching, you know, passes that come out of the backfield. Like, they had him lining the slot or out wide. But now you add more weapons. Maybe he becomes more of a traditional like scat back for you know, hurry up offense purposes. But yeah, and I hope he doesn't just piss me off all year. Like, well, I have a ton of Gibson, and I'm like, it's fucking McKissick, man. You know what I'm saying?
You guys, Bogey, you looking at the screen? Yeah. Dream to walk too.
Yeah, what up, dude?
Let's get it.
Hey,
got to smoke, got to drink, got to light it up, whatever. Let's shout out to Stu.
Shout out to Stu, man. You know, we appreciate you. You know, be on the lookout. I'm actually representing the Dream to Walk Foundation proudly in the Pace League. Shout out to Plug and Clock over there, man. You know what I mean? It's a real great league. A lot of phenomenal managers, and I'm so ecstatic to represent DTW.
And Bogey's going to bring it on home. Going against some big hitters, too. Going against Andy Holloway, and isn't Darren Waller like in that league? Like, there's a bunch of people.
Danny Woodhead, the PPR king. You know what I mean? Who else we got here? T-Pain's in that thing. You know what I mean? Shout out to Smitty. He's in that league. Marcus Grant and Michael Florio from the NFL Network. We also have Chael Nash. He's an artist under T-Pain's label. And obviously Clock and Plug, like I said. And and shout out to my man Complicated Kyrie, man. He was actually our last manager to join. He was actually, you know, set to be on for a while, but we ended up extending it and adding him and Danny Woodhead. So the shit is gonna be awesome, man. Like, it's a bunch of great causes. You know what I mean? Like, it's really one of those leagues. Like, if I don't win, I still feel like a winner, because we're raising money for all these great charities. And I just hope I can hoist that crown, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Stu's question here, we'll just rapid fire. Who wins the NFC East this year and why? And of course, Stu says, how about them Cowboys?
Listen, I love the Cowboys for fantasy purposes. In reality, I'm always going to say defense wins championships. In this case, the division championship. I'm going with Washington, man. You know what I mean? Rivera's defense is crazy over there. You know what I mean? And I mean, if Dan Quinn can turn that thing around, I'm not going to be surprised if the Cowboys win that division, because that division is seemingly wide open. You know what I mean? But man, their defense has a long way to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with you, Bogart. I'm going Washington. I feel like their defense is the best in the division, and their offense should take a nice step forward with the Magic Man and Curtis Samuel. I think their offense will be better than the Giants. I think the Giants are the other team that should be in the discussion, but I'm not a Danny Dimes believer. And I don't think their defense is quite as good as Washington's.
It's crazy because we got a three-way tie, and it's all going to be about the defense. A lot for me about the coaching and Ron Rivera. I mean, we saw last year came in, lit the NFC East on fire by getting into the playoffs with a losing record. But I think their defense improved, their offense improved. You got a brand new quarterback who's going to be able to sling it. You got Curtis Samuel, coming over now, and now he's going to take that pressure off of Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin's going to be we'll talk about him when we get to wide receivers, but yeah. I like Washington. Stu, I just love hating on the Cowboys. So I don't want to give you any ammo. We'll just make sure you keep that chip on your shoulder by me saying the Cowboys are not going to win the playoffs or get into the playoffs.
Hey, I will say this though, 7 seed, it makes it open to everybody, bro. Like it's almost like, unless you're like the Jets or something, you know what I mean?
I love it. What do you guys think about adding that extra playoff spot? I love it because you take away one bye week, and then now we got an extra game. First week,
and right, and we're going to the week 17 action now, so it's like it's
week 18. Week 18.
There you go. Yeah, and for all you crazies that played the 2-week championships. No, you weren't right this whole time, okay? You're like, see, now we're in 17 weeks. Like, no, you playing the week 18. You know what I mean? Like, my championship's still in week 17. You know what I mean?
Is there anyone going to be crazy enough to play a week 18 championship? Because that'll be
it's the people that used to play the week 17 championships where
they'll probably just keep it going week 18. Not me. I'm never a week 17 or once week 17. That's when I love my fantasy, but that's when it's like that's usually my off week until we usually do the playoff fantasy. So I have an off week in week 17 before the playoff fantasy starts.
So one thing I will say really quick before we get back into these running backs, because of adding the extra playoff team, that did make it to where there wasn't as many players sat. It was literally only the 2 teams that had the bye weeks that sat people.
That's a good point.
Pittsburgh, I guess they sat TJ Watt, So
it's just
superstar.
Yeah, the thing is though, the thing that the reason I don't ever want to play in a league that does I'm not in a single league that did because I don't like it. Like for example, if you were a Chiefs heavy team, let's just say you had like Mahomes and Hill or Mahomes and Kelsey combination, you're screwed. Like, and it's BS. Like I feel like that's it. Like I feel like it's the second to last week should be fantasy championship Sunday. Anything beyond that, I feel like it's just like you're forcing it.
Yeah, right. So week 15, 16, and 17 because you got bye weeks in week 14 now. So
right.
Yeah, got to make week 15 the first week.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing: is like, that's the only difference I felt that why it was so easy to make the switch, because instead of a 13-week regular season, we're just going to the 14. You know what I mean? And like for everybody that loves them some Jonathan Taylor, just make sure your team is nice and bolstered because you're not going to be with them week 14. And there's a few teams that have a week 14 bye actually. So
yeah, you don't want to be. Right, you don't want to be in a must-win scenario as the Jonathan Taylor owner in week 14. Like, son of a bitch, my first round pick's on bye week.
Last
Don't be
year,
the guy. Yeah, go ahead.
it was the Bucks last year, so I had Tom Brady, in a couple super flex leagues, and man, that hurt.
I bet.
Luckily, I made it. Like I was already in it, but had I needed to win that week, like it would have been,
all bad.
No bueno.
And you know what's crazy is if you made it over that hump, Tom Brady killed it so much in the fantasy playoffs. Like I think he came out week 14 against Detroit. Was it? Oh no, that was like week 16, right?
No, first week was Washington. Yeah,
that's right. It was Washington, and I forget we played week 15, but week 16 he won people's titles, bro.
And he didn't even play the whole game.
Yeah,
he
only
played
at
halftime. That was insane.
Bro, it was for a third place bag. A dude threw in Keyshawn Vaughn on me, bro. And like Keyshawn Vaughn, like they started off the first series, it was like all Leonard Fournette. And then they're like, all right, go ahead, Keyshawn, go crazy against Detroit, like who was like bottom 3 against the run last year. You know what I mean? It was like Keyshawn Vaughn went crazy, bro. I'm so hot. Fuck Keyshawn Vaughn. Anyways, DeAndre Swift, speaking of the Detroit Lions, you know what I mean? Where you have DeAndre Swift, right? Like,
yeah, I think.
Do you worry about Jamal Williams at all?
Not really, honestly, because I feel like Swift's gonna still see a lot of the receiving work. He works a lot, and the third down type scenarios, and he's somebody that they're gonna pound it. With Dan Campbell in Detroit, they're gonna be an old school type team. They don't have much at receiver. They don't really have. I mean, shoot, they took Penei Sewell in the first round. That's a sign that tells me their identity is going to be run the football.
Their left tackle originally, their left tackle originally was Decker. You move him to the right because he also played on the right and played decent. That's like because they're weak on the right side. So I think moving Decker over there actually makes that better. You know what I mean? Plus, someone like Jamal Williams, I bring him up because, when Green Bay used to do hurry up offense, you know what I mean? They would have him out there because he was phenomenal at pass protecting. Like his pass pro on PFF, he's always super high graded. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a little skewed because he doesn't have a lot of, time on the field, but when he is on the field, it's in those situations, hurry up. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering, and another thing is do we buy into Anthony Lynn, or is it just coach speak when he says right now Jamal Williams is the 1A?
Yeah, no,
it's like I didn't understand why he would come out and say that. Like,
Anthony Lynn, the ex-Chargers coach, right?
Yeah.
He's going to say whatever he needs to get his teammate, the team on his side. And maybe it's more to motivate DeAndre Swift than anything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because I remember. Yeah, for sure. I'm on board with that version because I feel like it's kind of like the way it was. Well, I don't even think it's this extreme. I was going to say like Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, but I don't see Jamal Williams getting anywhere close to a Melvin Gordon type workload. I think Swift is going to out-touch him, no doubt. Yeah. Williams is the compliment. We saw how it went down in Green Bay. Yeah, Williams was there, but he was the clear backup to Aaron Jones, and I think it'll be the same script in Detroit, where Swift will be the clear lead dog, and Williams will be serviceable in real life, but for fantasy, he just won't get enough work to be feasible in normal size leagues.
Yeah. And okay, and before we move on to receivers, right? Is there any? Actually, I had a few things about this.
Yeah, there's a few more things I'd like to touch on for.
Yeah, because I don't want to just move on just yet. Yeah, dude. So I just saw this right now. Like even early, that's how I missed the dono hype. I was reading this shit that my boys just sent me. Dude, Jeff Wilson Jr. torn meniscus.
Right, Trey Sermon season.
And it's like, see, and even if they don't bring along Sermon that quick, that just means they're going to keep everyone that they have. Because I was like, someone's getting cut. Mostert, Wayne Gallman, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Gallman stock up. Gallman could play more of a role now.
Because Jeff
Everyone's
Wilson,
talking Sermon. Gallman might be a bit way better value.
bro. And it just listen, I could see Gallman eating in that. I could see any running back eats actually. Let's say that in the Shanahan offense. It's just as they start to fall down like they do. So this is kind of great. I was a Jeff Wilson guy this year, actually, getting him hella late, grabbing Sermon too. Like I was doing that a bunch. But now that he's down for the count, this other kid Mitchell becomes interesting too. You know what I mean? And say there is
for my Raging Cajuns,
for the Raging
product.
Cajuns. I was gonna And that kid's a beast, bro. He got speed. He's physical as fuck. I mean, probably be a special teams guy initially, but like, yeah, it's just crazy because the Niners always have a top 24 running back when it's all said and done. You know what I mean? Like it's uncanny. We always end up with one of them, and no one ever ranks any of them really. You know what I mean? Like,
as we never know who it's gonna be. It's always a big mystery, and it's just on a weekly basis. It's hard as hell to know who's gonna have the hot hand. It's generally a backfield I avoid, but they've pissed so many people off that they've actually become good values because no one wants to touch a Shanahan running back, but they run so much to where it's like, shoot, they're in the right matchup, they're solid.
I think Harris too. I think Harris be a back end RB1 when it's all said and done. Just on the volume alone and the weapons in that offense that you have to pay attention to.
Wait, Damian?
No.
Oh, Najee. I was about to say,
I was thinking Damian.
I don't know why I was thinking Damian. I was like, what the hell? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, you said Harris. I thought Damian.
I don't know about that version, Bogart.
That version might be a bit steep. That's one thing. Like we get on Shanahan about being the running back of Belichick. That talk about a coach you want no part of their running backs, Lord. But yeah, Najee's interesting. He's kind of ranked all over. Some people I see have him as a RB1. Others have him more like a low end RB2. I think he'll be more about I have him around 15. You know, I think he'll eat because he'll be a volume guy, but with Big Ben on his last legs, I don't think that offense is going to be scoring as many points as, you know, back with the Killer Bees in the Killer Bees days. And even back then, Lev Bell was never like a big touchdown guy. And because Ben seems like with Ben, he always likes to throw near the goal line. So I think Harris will score probably right around 10 touchdowns per se, but I don't think he'll have like a type year where he scores 15 or something. And so I think with the Pittsburgh offense not being what it once was, it caps his upside.
I am curious to no, go ahead.
And the O-line's not as good anymore in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's trash.
Yeah.
I still think the volume. I still think he could volume his way.
Volume is going to be king with Najee, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Two guys on this list kind of stand out to me. You know, two guys who are definitely drafted somewhere in the top 12 or maybe just barely outside of it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Josh Jacobs. Now, it's always all about where you're going to get these guys if they fall, but based on where you have them now, is this the kind of value that you want out of those guys and then maybe you'll swoop? Or are those two guys that you're just avoiding altogether because of 2020?
Clyde is one, like the first point you said about if the value's right, I'll swoop. Yeah, for Clyde, I feel like Clyde will definitely do better in year 2. He'll probably score more touchdowns, have more volume with Lev Bell going. I feel pretty good about him bouncing back.
Here's the thing. When Lev Bell came through, depending on your scoring format, Clyde at that time was RB 9, 10, or 11, depending on scoring format. You know what I mean? PPR.
Yeah, he wasn't doing bad. He didn't quite live up to the hype because he got hyped up way too much once Damian Williams opted out.
If he scored one more touchdown by that time when Lev Bell came, I think he had 3 touchdowns on the year. One more touchdown, he was RB5 overall at that time. So it's kind of crazy because, you know what I mean? Clyde it was basically the hype. Like I'm over here. I was the Clyde guy, bro. The Fresh Prince of Hell Air. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is now I'm glad no one's talking about him. It's pun intended, hilarious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. He's a good value at this point.
Yeah.
I got him in my mock draft. I think the mock draft Monday I did with you, Bogart, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I got Clyde because he's a good value. And the one that I'm completely staying away from though is Josh Jacobs. I want no part of Josh Jacobs. The Raiders O-line is trash. They got rid of a lot of their O-linemen that were there. I don't know what John Gruden's saying. Yeah, 3 out of 5 starters. John Gruden's a dumbass. That's just to say that.
Look at the haircut, bro.
Oh,
a man who consciously chooses a bowl cut doesn't make good decisions.
No, and then to top it off, he signs Kenyon Drake, who he claims will be hell of money, be his third down back supposedly. And Kenyon Drake freaking last year had bricks for hands. Chase Edmonds took all the receiving, where Kenyon Drake is not someone I'd really want as my third down back. So I think
I like that Drake. He's got good music. He's like he's a grinder.
Right? He's a grinder. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. And Jacobs, man, I think he's gonna really suffer as a result of that. That whole situation in Vegas is not fantasy friendly, other than Waller and maybe Ruggs. I feel like Jacobs and Drake is just. That's going to be one of those things where you're just beating your head against the wall every day. Like, oh, this sucks, man. Jacobs is somebody, unless he would fall to the late 4th, early 5th, I'm not touching him.
Let me see how many rush attempts he had. How many rush attempts did Josh Jacobs have in the 2020 regular season?
He was a volume guy. I mean, but he was good, but he didn't live up to expectations. And I think his attempts definitely dropped this year.
Yeah, for sure.
If you take out week 1 out of his season, because I did own Josh Jacobs in the league last year, you take out week 1, he was garbage.
Yeah.
That first week when he threw up 150 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
From that point on,
or 5 receptions, something like that.
Yeah, all downhill from there. Yeah. I thought I had nailed it because I was a Jacobs truther last year after that big week 1. I was like, yes, sir, a sign of things to come. He's going to be a top 5 running back, and then I missed on that one.
It's funny because I always see when it came to the Josh Jacobs thing. I remember when they first drafted him, they had Antonio Brown, and I was all about it because I'm like, okay, he's not really going to see stack boxes all the time. Like, you know what I mean? He's gonna have opportunity here to do big. Then he dyes the mustache blonde and he does the toe thing and the helmet issue. And then all of a sudden he's with the Patriots. And I was like, all right, I'm off Josh Jacobs because I just don't really respect Derek Carr or even what Greg Olsen and them do over there. Because that's another thing about the Raiders, man. Greg Olsen's such a trash coordinator. And even if he's not the one calling the plays, because it probably is Gruden, bro, they're just doing it all wrong over there. You know what I mean? I don't want anything to have a part of it except for Darren Waller, obviously.
How about one more reason to hate Josh Jacobs is last year when he said he was going to play, threw it up on Instagram, and then he didn't end up playing. Remember that? What a dirtbag! What a dirtbag!
Yeah, he's I'm definitely not drafting him this year, man. He's on my avoids list. No doubt. I need to make a post on him, man. Just because last year I was really down on Joe Mixon and I nailed that one. Where I think this year my biggest avoid is Josh Jacobs.
My favorite.
I feel really strongly about that. That's my version. Josh Jacobs will suck this season.
10 points, man. You win that one for sure. Listen, I'm going to tell you this much. You were just talking about another running back that I wanted to touch on. Hold on, refresh my memory. You were just talking about a running back I was waiting to. Oh yeah, Travis Etienne. You have what was that? 24.
Mm-hmm.
24. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. ETN, man. I think he could exceed that ranking.
Yeah,
I do.
I think he can finish higher.
Looking at it, I might jump him up to 20 over Gaskin. I mean, because I think ETN he's going to do really well there. With Lawrence, I know he's not a receiver, but he's familiar with Lawrence. It's not going to be a big shock. I think he'll be able to pick up on things there, even pass protection and such. He'll be seeing a lot of early
And
snaps.
if we could assume that they're going to be playing from behind a lot, you know what I mean? That,
Yeah.
you know, he would be the running back in play more so. I mean, James Robinson was phenomenal last year, and I happen to believe like he's actually a nice little flex option this year as well. Like I'm not saying like he's, you know, worth nothing now. You know what I mean? Like I think they're gonna try to run as much as possible with Darrell Bevel there. You know what I mean? And there's also a world. So here's check this out. Here's my version right here. So you talked about Myles Gaskin. You know, Miami, they just tried to sign Kerryon Johnson. They got beat out by the Eagles, right? So that told me that okay, they're still looking for something better. That would be so dope. Right now, I'm saying it. Actually, you know what? Hustler, make the phone call. Miami's gonna trade for James Robinson. Bang.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. And now
because Myles Gaskin, Myles Gaskin, the way they run him like he's a big back. You know what I mean? They run him between the tackles hella much. You know what I'm saying? Like
he caught a lot of passes last year, though. I gotta say.
Yeah, and that'll stump anybody who was saying the Magic Man don't throw it at the running back either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because damn sure wasn't Tua doing that.
You know Gaskin last year. I know he missed some games, but on a per game basis, Gaskin he was a stud as far as just being like a guy you could plug in as your RB2 type guy. He was really good. I mean, that's why I have him ranked this high. But yeah, it's just I don't know if he'll stay this high though, because they're definitely the Dolphins are a team. I think Piggy Bank brought this up last night on Mock Draft Monday. He's a Dolphins guy. And he was saying about how like the Dolphins are the most active team as far as making moves. So they'll probably almost yeah, them in Houston. Yeah, they trade with each other a lot. So.
Bro, yeah. Houston picked up a whole team in the free agency. They picked up a whole defense.
And they're all garbage. Like it's they picked up everyone's trash.
No one's more active than them, is what I'm saying. You know?
Yeah, and a lot of it's just stupid.
Shout out to Piggy, but
at least Miami's activity usually makes sense. I gotta say, Houston's, it's just like, the hell are y'all doing? But where Miami, it's like they do calculated stuff. Like a lot of their decisions, like I can see this. This makes sense. Like I like the way they like to accumulate draft picks and make moves. Like they're a savvy team.
Yeah. I'll tell you what Houston's doing, and you tell me if you like this comparison or not. They are doing something that we've seen out of a movie, baseball movie. Major League, the Cleveland Indians. Seems like they're like the Cleveland Indians in Major League.
What was Charlie Sheen's character in there?
The Wild Thing.
Wild Thing. There it was. Yeah, with the tape on the glasses. Yeah. Look at that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Spencer, would you believe that we rehearsed that? It's pretty good.
Right?
Before we move on, though, Wise Man, he says Montgomery at 19, and I know Montgomery finished top
fourth
5,
overall.
But
fourth overall.
I was someone who said that he just really outperformed his expectations because of all the injuries that happened above him. But I feel like whatever perspective you have on David Montgomery, you know, if you're overhyping him, he's not going to live up to it. But I feel like number 19, I could live with that because I think he's going to be a solid RB2 again.
I think he'll be a high-end RB2. And, like, here's the thing. People, like, they go, oh, well, David Montgomery had the week scheduled for the rest of the last 6 weeks, right? I actually actively traded from him and got him for cheap from, like, hella people because they just didn't want him. And I'm like looking at the last 6 weeks. I'm like, I need to have him. You know what I mean? He finished his fourth overall.
Advantage of it,
Nobody will say that about Jonathan Taylor. He had a softer schedule than that. No one's saying that about Jonathan Taylor. And theoretically, both of these guys have guys coming back. Tariq Cohen's coming back. They brought over Damian Williams, the aforementioned, right? There's their Damian Williams gets brought up. You know, he's over there behind Montgomery now. And then you got Marlon Mack. Yeah, Grandy's coming off the Achilles, but and you still have Nyheim Hines, the catch-up. You know what I mean? That's my man. You know what I'm saying? But my man Monty Burns, man, they're not putting respect on his name.
You know I know. I've seen some lists. I actually might move him up a tab because I see some lists where he's not even in the top 24. I'm like, what are y'all smoking? Y'all smoking dick there. That's crazy.
I would take him over Chris Carson. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
definitely. And I'd say
Yeah.
honestly, I might take him over Miles Sanders. I'm not really a Miles.
I would take him
Sanders
over
fan.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I'd probably now I'm looking at probably swap him. So yeah, I'd probably say Clyde, dude. Clyde or Monty. That's tough. I'd probably at this point still go Clyde because of the offense. The Chiefs being a much more explosive offense.
And I'm still a Joe Mixon guy too. I want to bring that up because
I like him as a post type option.
Per game basis is my favorite stat. You brought that up earlier on a per game basis. That's my favorite because he's a guy who gets injured. So you really only have per game basis to look at, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either that or like 16 game pace. Like, oh well, if he played 16, he would have.
Yeah, I do look at per 16. On a Pro Football Reference, I'd look at it. I forgot. I have Mixon's. I have it in my notes here. Let's see on his.
He would always be around 1,400.
On his first 16, Joe Mixon, he would have had 1141 rushing yards, averaging 71 a game, receiving 368, averaging 23 a game, which is it's
14 total.
And in 56 receptions, so double-digit touchdowns. I mean, on a per-game basis, he's a RB1.
Sir Joe Mix-a-Lot. He likes touchdowns, and he cannot lie. He just needs to stay healthy.
I know, exactly. Him and Burrow, man. Keep the Joes on the field, and that'll be a hell of an offense.
Oh, man. But, yeah, all right. Is there anywhere else? There's another one I wanted to one more thing before we move on. Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones has no Aaron Rodgers, how far do we drop Aaron Jones?
I say, low end RB1. I still think, even with Jordan Love, I still think he could be RB1 because with Jamal Williams going, he's going to rack up receptions. AJ Dillon's not really a receptions guy.
If they're going hurry up, it's going to be Jones these days.
Yeah, Jones will be. I think he'll be fine. His touchdowns won't be as good. But last year his touchdowns were a little down. They went down from that pinnacle year he had.
19.
No matter what, it was going down.
Yeah, and he still did well last year. He was still RB1, so I don't think he'll be a first round pick without Rodgers, but I definitely still think he'll be around where Cam Akers is going, like the early second.
If Aaron Rodgers isn't there, I feel like you're clocking him, at double-digit touchdowns, like no matter what, because anytime they'd get in, they'd be giving it to him.
Yeah, so I don't think it'll hurt him all that much. Yeah, he's definitely not someone that you want to drop. You don't want to panic and drop him way down your board.
Yeah, and maybe you never know. We've never seen. The second year in that offense, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers was fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine what the third year around would be like, right? But I will say, if they get Julio over there and Rodgers is still there, oh my god,
yeah, yeah. It's just there'll be
the running backs there. If you know what I mean, Julio and Adams to take the top off, bro. He's seeing like 5-man boxes, bro.
Right. Oh yeah, he'll rip off all kind of long runs, and if they get all that going, so it's it'll be interesting. Him and Adams is another one I see a lot of times where he'll slip now in drafts to like the second, and he's another one though. It's like don't panic, I still have him as number one here. I guess we could be a good way to transition to receivers. I think Adams is. I don't care who the quarterback is. I think Jordan Love can still allow Adams to be an elite WR1. My version on that is and Adams still did well with him. Adams is quarterback
breakout year.
Adams is quarterback proof, y'all. Definitely. I think in a way, I'd almost for Adams being a great value, and I'd almost hope Rodgers would get traded because then everyone's going to panic, and then you'll be able to get Adams at a great deal for especially in redraft. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, he sucks now. No more Rodgers." No, he's not going to suck. He'll still be really strong. He'll still be a top 5 receiver.
So obviously, when we see Adams here at the top, this is living in the world that Rodgers stays
put. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, he stays put. Even if he doesn't know, I'd probably only move Hill and maybe Diggs over him. That'd be it. I'd keep him at least 3.
So I gotta bring up someone right off the bat. Michael Thomas, because a lot of people are panicking like crazy because of Breeze. So talk about him because I'm seeing him way lower and he is dropping, in drafts like crazy.
Yep, and I'm getting him a lot already. I know I'm gonna have a lot. And you know what's funny? Last year, and I'm a Saints fan. And last year, no Michael Thomas for me. Not a single Michael Thomas year. And I play like 10, 12 leagues or so. I lost count
I
how
tried
many
to
leagues I
trade you
played.
Michael Thomas, and when he was hurt, and you're like, I don't even want him. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
at that point, he was it. He was damaged goods at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, just
And I was
like
going to the Saints fan. You know, I was doing it right. I was doing it right. I was trying. You know, that's
yeah.
what
Well,
you gotta do.
it would have canceled out because you wanted CMC off me, and they both ended up
Yeah.
damaged goods. It would have just been a wash. But
We would have been both pissed, but it would have been fine. Can you imagine that was an actual conversation last year? Like, yo, I'll give you Michael Thomas for CMC, bro.
Well, I think it's because CMC still had a few weeks. Like you were gonna give me Thomas and like a RB2 for. I think it was like Thomas and I think it was Thomas and Thomas and Clyde. It was Thomas and Clyde for CMC
and let Bell already there.
And I was like, I'm good. I'll just hope CMC comes back and then the idiot gets hurt again. I'm like, damn it, because he came back for that 1 week around week 10. I'm like, yes, he's finally back, and then he's hurt again. It's like, oh well, ship sailed. I'm not winning,
bro. As the fantasy gods had it last year for me, in a ton of my leagues, I was on the 1-2 turnaround. You know what I mean? So I was like at 11 or 10. So I was getting a lot of Clyde and then swinging around and getting Thomas. You know what I mean? Like, because he would be there, and I'm like, hell yeah, because it was just so running back heavy already last year, and like, just bro. You already know that didn't work out for me. You know what I mean? I was trying to say that. All bad, bro. Nobody wanted what I had.
To answer Hustler's question about why I'm high on Thomas, I think even without Drew, he'll be fine, because the Saints don't really have much else outside of him. Traquan Smith is not a high volume guy. Deontay Harris, Marquez Callaway. I mean, I know those guys well because I'm a Saints fan. Outside of Nola and Who Dat Nation, no one really knows those guys. And rightfully so, they haven't proven anything. I mean, maybe they'll get a good rapport going with Jameis, but if I had to guess, it's going to be a whole lot of Michael Thomas. Yeah. And I think he'll definitely catch his well over 100 passes. I think he could get back to leading the league in receptions and be a PPR monster.
Mm-hmm. The volume's coming back, bro. And I mean, shout out to your Saints. I've been actually beating this drum for a while. I think there's going to be, like you said, someone you're going over 4,500 passing yards because that defense got stripped down. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it did.
It really did. So, you know what I mean? I fully expect them to be in a ton of shootouts. You know what I mean? And that's why I love my man Jameis, bro. Infamous Winston is what I call him. You know what I mean? Because he's infamous for just throwing that pick six. He's the president of the pick six club. And bro, I get juiced when he throws that pick six. Woo! I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a big day today. Because he's just putting himself in the hole. I mean, I'm not saying that that's gonna happen, but that's what has happened. You know what I mean? And that's why I love Jameis. You know
oh yeah, for fantasy, as a Saints fan, I'm gonna be. It's gonna be a love-hate relationship. But for fantasy, I'm like, yeah, just keep slinging it, and MT's gonna be a big beneficiary of that. And we have a comment in the chat about Thomas's ankle surgery, and I'm pretty sure he did have it. I think
it was like a cleanup job.
Yeah, because it was a torn deltoid in his ankle, and with that, I think he'll be just fine. It was an injury that it literally bothered him all year. So now that's cleaned up, he's gonna be back to the way he was in 2019.
I wouldn't worry about it. You know why?
Right.
My nickname for him is Frankenstein, right? Because he got the big ass dome, right?
Yeah,
but bro, just like Frankenstein, bro, he got all different kind of parts on him, bro. He's gonna be all right, bro.
Oh yeah, he'll be fine.
He got the new ankle this time. It's all good.
I
like the guy we're getting on Frankenstein this year. I actually have Frankenstein at 6th overall in my rankings. You know what I'm saying? That are coming out on Hustler's Patreon. You know what I'm saying? We'll drop the link in the joint. You know what I'm saying? But also, bro, I actually have him. I'm crazy. I have him over Calvin Ridley even because the concentration is what we're looking at with Mike Thomas. Who do we got here? Alvin and the Chipmunks and then Frankenstein. It's just them.
Yeah,
that's
it. Yeah, he's gonna get all the volume. So the other one that he's gonna the one that I think I don't know if he's the one you have in your top 5, but I could definitely see it if he is AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
Yeah,
AJ
because he's
Brown's
gonna
at
get.
fourth,
He's gonna not only super explosive. He's gonna get a lot of volume this year on top of it. So yeah, he could definitely be top 5. He's right on the cusp for me. I mean, I go back. I'm actually torn between whether to put him or MT 5th. I mean, I guess for PPR, I'd give a slight edge to MT. But man, AJ Brown just has such a high ceiling.
Even if
he's gonna get the volume, I mean, I might move him up. Shoot, if they don't sign anybody, I might move him up over Hopkins even.
I'll tell you this much. I have Hopkins. Here's a little spoiler. Here's my top 6. I'll give you my top 7 actually. I got Nuke Skywalker at 1. You know
you're all in with Nuke Skywalker.
Oh yeah. And I had him as my number 2 last year. Then I got bless you. I got Tyreek Hill, right?
Yeah.
I got the freak coming in at number 2. Number 3, that's where I got Adams. You know what I mean? Regardless if we have, I probably would drop him if there's no Rodgers, but I live in that world, right? Then 4, I have AJ Brown. 5, I have Diggs. Then I come in with Michael Thomas into Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
You know because I think Calvin Ridley, here's the one thing we loved about Tannehill with Arthur Smith. Very efficient offense. You know what I mean? One of the more efficient offenses we've seen in recent history. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's going to bring that, he's going to bring that over to Atlanta. You know what I mean? So the pass attempts, the 620 pass attempts that Matt Ryan averages every year, it might come down. You know what I mean? Maybe not significantly. Maybe we're looking at 580, but still, I'm just saying that on the flip side, I think Michael Thomas is easy 150 targets. Easy. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and Ridley, if they trade Julio, Ridley's gonna even if their pass attempts go down some, he's gonna get peppered with targets, if Julio's not there.
I probably would flip them though. But see, and here's the thing. Yeah, we saw that fucking shit. Shout out to Uncle Shan, man. He he kind of had him slip in there. But at the same time, bro, man, there's still a world they don't get what they want and they just ride with Julio. Like if you didn't draft, you could have drafted Justin Fields for the future. You're a new head coach. That means you want to win now. I think moving Julio is actually kind of stupid for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
what
I don't really know why
they're just going to play football for fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I don't see that team really winning anything. You know what I mean? And if you are going to try to win now, because it doesn't look like you're in rebuild mode. You know what I mean? Like,
you saw what Julio said, though. Julio said, "I won." Like he said, he won out.
I'm just saying, though, if maybe he don't play, then maybe he holds out. I'm just saying they're not.
Yeah, well, I think he said it. He says like, "I'm out of here." He didn't really say like, "I want out." So like, I think it's a kind of a thing where I think he knows that.
I like Husser's version better. Julio is disgruntled. he was like, "Fuck Atlanta." You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Damn, Uncle Shan."
Yeah, well, I think part of it is because I think he's frustrated with the direction. They don't really have a clear sense of direction there. It's like, are they rebuilding or do they want to win? And I think he's at a point with their cap. He's probably just like he's kind of just all right. Well, it's this chapter's come to an end, so hopefully they. I mean, for fantasy. Hopefully he'll go to a good spot. I don't know why. I saw that report about him wanting to play with Cam Newton. I'm just like, why? Cam Newton freaking sucks, man. He's a terrible quarterback. Like, why would you want to go play with him? Hopefully he gets traded to like your 49ers, Bogart. I think he'd do just fine with the.
We would have to restructure some things, but you know what I'm saying. As far as Julio's existing contract and the number will drop a little bit already. That's why people are waiting until June 1st when the new year starts because the cap's dropping. But I will say, New England historically trades out of the first round. If that's all it takes to get Julio, New England's throwing them a first. You know what I mean? Like, because they normally trade out of the first anyway. This year, just so happened to be they're in position to get a QB at 15. So boom, they stayed put. You know what I mean? They probably would have traded back if they got good enough offers. But I'm just saying historically that's what they do. So if that's all it takes to get a Julio, you know what I mean? He's going to New England.
Oh man, I hope not. Well, in that case, well, he's on the next page.
I was gonna say, where do you got?
I think I came like 16th on the.
And I love that you have McLaurin as a WR1.
Scary Terry, scary with Fitzmagic. He's gonna eat well. I'm telling you, Scary Terry,
the Magic Man.
That's who I want. That's who I wanted to talk about before we got to the wide receiver twos.
Let's have that.
Oh, yeah. I think he's finishing in the top 12. And, yeah, Fitzmagic, if he just gets on the same page like him and Parker were, and then now with Samuel coming and going to be able to take some heat off of Terry, like I just feel it's going to be a match made in heaven for him, and he's going to eat. And even Matt Harmon last week said that was someone who he thinks is going to, really outperform.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to the reception perception. Give me money. So going back to Ryan Fitzpatrick, I will say you can go all the way back, whether it was a Stevie Johnson or
Eric Decker, Brandon Marshall at the Jets.
He always he always has two supporting cast members that he could make fantasy viable. He did it last year with or what was it? Was it 2 years ago, right? With Parker and Gesicki, or if not, it was Parker and Preston Williams.
Yeah.
And then last year was a little wonkier because there were some injuries, but
and then the two
I'm saying, and y'all said I'm too high on a football team. You know
I think they'll win the division. I thought you were a little too high on the Magic Man himself for fantasy, but I think his weapons are definitely gonna do well. I mean, like they're set up for success there, no doubt. Logan Thomas is another one we'll have to mention when we get to tight ends. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Wolverine. I love me some Logan Thomas this year. All right. Well, Terry McLaurin, what? 4th rounder, right? That's like his ADP right now.
Yeah, and I think he could. I'd take him in the 3rd. I
think this is the last year that he's outside of the top 24.
Oh
I mean? This is the last year he's getting drafted outside of top 24. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah,
Bobby's getting a big ego over here. Said y'all hyping up my team. Hell yeah!
See, I told you. I thought he actually don't like it when we hype up his team because he don't want to jinx it. You know what I mean? That's why I rarely talk about my Niners. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like the way I like the way they're building things there. I think they're in a good spot. I just Fitzmagic, he makes me a little nervous as far as them really going far in the playoffs. But I definitely think he's a good bridge quarterback, and if they can draft a quarterback in 2022, like they'll be set up for success for years to come.
Shit, they might fuck around and bring Cousins back. Cousins is gonna be
you never know.
He's going to be interesting because
you never know.
Like Pittsburgh or Washington, or you know what I mean? There's going to be some spots. But yeah. Okay, so let's get to this next batch. Here. What jumps out you immediately, Huss?
So, CD Lamb being 18, I just feel like he's gonna be drafted higher than that for sure. So him being low on the list, at least seeming low to me, that's the first thing that jumps off.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, honestly, looking back, like I think I made it the 2 weeks ago. I'd probably for sure move him up over DJ Moore, and if Julio gets traded, I'd move him up over him. So I could definitely see him being higher than 18. Which in my next rankings, I probably will have him higher than that. But I'd also feel like some people are hyping him up too much. Some people are having him as like being like wanting him to draft him over the Bucks guys and over Scary Terry, and I can't get on board with that.
That's just crazy talk.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cowboy in the league.
Exactly. Yeah. Or Smitty. I think Smitty's a cowboy the way he hypes up CD Lamb, So it's like,
Smitty's going to have everybody taking CD Lamb in the 3rd round this year. I swear to
God.
Not me, though. That means I'm not going to have no CD Lamb in any.
I know. It's like y'all can have it kind of like last year with DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf. I mean, and he actually did well. I'm not hating on DK Metcalf, but he was one that he was a Smitty guy that I wanted no part of. AJ Brown, hell yeah, I took a lot of AJ Brown, but DK Metcalf was one like hell no. So we'll see how CD's ADP shakes out. As of now, his ADP is not bad. As of now, I'd take him. But if he ends up getting hyped up too much, which some people are doing that, but as of now, it's okay.
I'm way higher. I would go at least 5 spots higher with CeeDee Lamb, because I feel like that's where he'll finish as like a high-end WR2. And I feel like when you look at the last full season that Dak played, his slot guy was Randall Cobb. He had over 80 receptions. You know what I mean? CeeDee Lamb, he is gonna get most of his chops out of the slot. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna have Gallup and then the pooper scooper on the other side. You know what I mean? So I mean, we might very well see like 100 receptions out of the slot with a 17-week season with a healthy Dak. You know what I mean?
It's possible. Would y'all rather rather
PPR goals.
Lamb or the Pooper Scooper? Cooper. Who would y'all take? Which Dallas receiver for fantasy?
Okay, I'm going to say CeeDee Lamb because it's more, even though it's more unknown, it's based on the fact that we know more about Cooper. We know what Cooper is. And you can't tell me, I'm okay with being wrong on this, is that like Cooper last year on a per game basis was the first time he was actually consistent. You know what I mean? Every year he has the 200-yard game, and then the 70-yard game, then the 50-yard game, then the disappearing game, and then another 150-yard game. You know what I mean? That was him before, and he would go over 1,000. Like last year on a per game basis, he was actually, he actually had a solid floor. But that wasn't with Dak either. So I don't know how to call it. Is that an outlier year? Is that what we should expect more? I mean, the value is there over CeeDee Lamb because CeeDee Lamb's getting drafted higher than the Pooper Scooper. You know what I mean? So value wise, maybe I'm just not a Cooper guy too. So maybe I'm the wrong person to ask. You know what I mean?
I usually try to avoid Cooper just because of what you said. I mean, he's one of those guys that 50% of his games he was just like disappearing, and I would just let other people deal with that headache. But you said that you love CeeDee Lamb so much that you're going to move him up 5 spots. That literally puts him at number 13 above all these guys here. I know you're you're
over 100 receptions. Tack him up for maybe 8 touchdowns. Like we all expect this to be a high flying offense, right? You know what I mean? Like we all fully expect this, right? Or else we wouldn't be taking the Dak so high, or you know what I mean? And I feel like it's going to be concentrated between the 3 of those guys, more so towards CeeDee Lamb and Cooper, though, as far as the receiving core. Gallup's going to be the guy. He's just, he's running 9s all day. You know what I mean? He's running goes. So I think based on volume and I am on the side of things where I don't think that defense exactly turns things around. You know what I mean? Their game plan is to be like Sean McVay and just pile up hella points, keep the foot on the gas pedal. You know what I mean? At CeeDee Lamb. You know what I mean? Listen, I am crazy. I could pencil him in for like 130 targets. You know what I mean? Like, how many pass attempts do you think Dak's going to have this year? 650?
Well, last year he was on pace for like 800, right?
Yeah, there's no way. He's that.
And it still seems realistic to be like, okay, 650. But I'm like, I still feel that's not enough. You know what I mean? Maybe 670, maybe. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna throw the ball a shit ton, bro. And with Dak,
especially Mike McCarthy still there. Yeah, he loves to throw. So yeah, they'll. It's just I think it'll. It's tough. As of now, I'd probably go slightly with Cooper because he's got more to rapport with Dak as of now. But I think as the year goes on, CD will become the better option. I think as far as season stats, Cooper's will be slightly better. But on a per game, like as far as consistency, CD will probably be a little more consistent.
Yeah, and if we're getting CD in the 4th round, and he's my second receiver. You know what I mean? I'm
good with that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
It's just a guy that you have in your lineup. It's not going to fail you. He's going to be, you know what I mean? He's going to have a floor like 10 to 12 points every week. You know what I mean? And then he'll have, you know what I'm saying? Like with the touchdowns and the yards. And that's what I'm hoping. I think he's like an 1,100-yard receiver. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So, CeeDee Lamb.
Dak's throwing, maybe I'm too low with 1,100. I mean, I don't want to get too bullish here, but I mean, come on. We do think that he's going to be at least close to 5,000-yard passer, right? So, you know what I mean?
I'll say, how about this one for you, Bogart? I know you say you're going to move CD up a lot. So you take CeeDee Lamb if you were drafting right now. You would draft CeeDee Lamb over Chris Godwin?
That's where I have Godwin. See, you know how I said 5 spots higher? Mm-hmm. And I did say I was being crazy, but in my rankings, I have Godwin at 13. You know what I mean? And CD is at 14. I have CD at 14.
Okay, yeah, got CD instead of Cooper. Okay,
yeah,
I gotcha.
And I keep tinkering. I want to touch on. I forgot to mention earlier about Jefferson too, because that's another guy I keep moving him up and down my rankings. Like I've had him as high as 11, and I've had him as low as 14, where I have CD. Now I have him at 12, but it's just that's another one of those guys, man. Like, is Kirk Cousins 36 passing touchdowns? That's an outlier year. You know what I mean? He always is around 26, 27 touchdowns, all the way going back to his time in Washington.
Well, the thing with that is that the point of that is I think that'll hurt Thielen a lot more than it'll hurt Jefferson. Jefferson wasn't nearly as touchdown dependent. That's why I still have Jefferson in the top 12 and Thielen I have all the way down at 23 because I think Thielen's going to really suffer with Cousins' touchdowns regressing to the mean this year.
You think so? I mean, even with, I mean, I looked at this and I'm like, damn, like if I can get Adam Thielen at like around 23, like I'm going to be like stoked. He might be my third wide receiver, you know, at that point, just depending on when I got him. I mean,
he's been a decent value in drafts so far. I notice he usually goes in like the 5th round, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm good. I've never
he was
really been a Thielen guy, but I mean, shoot, he's it is current. A lot of people are down on him because I think a lot of people kind of see what Bogart's saying about Kirk Cousins. So with with his ADP actually being reasonable, I might own a few Thielen shares this year.
So I'm looking at the Hustler draft kit right now where I got it all like broken down. He had 74 receptions, 108 targets, 925 yards, and 14 receiving touchdowns. I mean, even if he dropped a handful of, touchdowns, if he sticks around 1,000 yards and 70, 80, receptions, like I feel like that's still going to be money for where we're getting them.
Yeah, Thielen is like that old. He's that old reliable though. I mean, where is he? Where is his current ADP right now? He's definitely like in the mid rounds.
Yeah, I think it's around the 5th. He went in the 5th. I know in the draft.
So he's
last night.
right there at the back of the. Okay,
I think so. Yeah, he's at a reasonable price right now, and it's getting to the point where I thought I was pretty bullish on Jamar Chase at 24. Like at the time I did these rankings, they were kind of sleeping on Chase, but now everyone's hyping Chase up. Chase went really high in the draft last night. So I don't know. He's all over the map ADP wise. His ADP is kind of very fluid right now. So, but I think though I think he'll finish though if things break right as a WR2, like with considering he's already got that chemistry with Burrow. He was Burrow's number 1 target at LSU when they set with that record setting offense. So yeah, I think Chase and last year Burrow. Speaking of Burrow, his downfall on a per game basis that he wasn't really throwing that many receiving touchdowns. Where with Chase there, that's not going to be an issue anymore. Chase was his red zone guy. Now that Chase is in the building, he's going to be throwing plenty of touchdowns.
You know what's funny? I always take heed to Spencer's words, right? Whenever he's talking about things involving LSU or just Louisiana in general, I'm like, oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Jamar Chase was that dude, man. Like Jamar Chase, I have to move him up, man. I try not to get suckered into the hype trains, but the Jamar Chase hype train, that's one. If you're not on it, you're gonna be left at the station because that train is gonna be rolling full steam ahead. I mean, that Jamar Chase, he's a future. He's a future number 1 overall receiver. Like if he hits his ceiling, we'll be talking about him like with Devontae, Tyreek Hill, Nuke Skywalker range.
Bro, totally agree. You know what I mean? Jamar Chase, give me money. Okay, how about this? We were talking about Trevor Lawrence, and you think like he could be one of those guys that could perhaps break into the QB1 category, right? Like the Q as a QB one, a top 12 esque. Why isn't DJ Chark, who's on paper the number 1 target over there? Was he in consideration at all to be a back end WR2 at least? My man, the Chark Knight.
Yeah, he was. The reason he didn't make it though is because we don't know who Trevor's gonna really fall in love with yet. Point. I mean, because with Visca and Marvin Jones, they got other guys there. It's not just Chark, and Chark doesn't really profile as a volume guy. I think he'll be very efficient and have a nice season, but I don't think he'll see quite enough volume to crack that WR2 range unless we see in camp that Trevor Lawrence is really locked in on targeting him. And then, of course, his stock will go up, but we don't know that yet. And I don't think he's quite, like I said, I don't think he's quite enough of a volume guy.
Okay.
So, but we'll see, though. He's definitely got upside. I like his current price. He's actually going around in the 6th round.
Yeah.
He went in the 6th last night. I thought that was a bargain. I wanted him. He got picked one pick before me. I had the 6'5", and they took him at the 6'4". I got Brandon Ayuk actually at the 6'5", who was another one that was pretty close to cracking that top 24.
I like it. I like it. I mean, especially in that range, if it's a single QB league in that range, you know, I would probably take Ayuk or DJ Chark over any of them running backs that are going in that range. You know, the DJ Mosterts, the who else is going in that range? David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, like all
those guys,
the old
garbage. Yeah, James
take
Conner. That's another one. I was saying, speaking of Chase Edmonds is somebody that's trending up for me because I can't stand James Conner. I think Chase Edmonds could be in that RB2 range. I know we were shit talking Jacobs at this point. I'd probably slide Edmonds into my top 24 and kick Jacobs out.
Yeah, I would say take Jacobs out anyway.
I'm definitely down on it. I made that clear.
I will say this though, Chucky. That's although he, I think he's a dumbass because of his choice of haircut, which to me just represents everything about him. You know what I mean? I just feel like, yeah, right. But that's probably the smartest thing he's ever done was bringing over Kenyon Drake. Because if you look at Damian Harris, how he was successful in college, he wasn't no load carrier. He was a timeshare guy. He just had the Lions' share of the workload. You know what I mean? So maybe that does help him. But
they'll bring back because Kenyon Drake, he if I'm not mistaken, he was an Alabama guy too, right? Because I know Jacobs was.
Yeah, I think
maybe that's Gruden's logic there. He is thinking like,
he went to Bama.
He's like, I got a couple of Nick Saban running backs. Now we're gonna bring the Nick Saban offense to the NFL. Like, and Henry Ruggs too. He's trying to do the Alabama stack. Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs. What the hell?
They reached on Red Leatherwood. Didn't he come from Bama too?
Yeah, he must be. He's a Saban dick rider, bro. He is obsessed with Alabama guys. Oh my goodness.
Funny,
I didn't even realize that. I forgot Drake was an Alabama guy too. Holy crap.
They get all the wrong Alabama guys too. I think they got a couple guys on defense from Bama too in the Gruden era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, watch him trade for Julio.
We're spending way too much time on the scrubby Raiders. Let's get
we'll get to the tight ends before we close this thing out. You know what I mean?
The position that we all love the most. Don't we all love tight ends the most? Isn't that everyone's favorite?
I mean, if I get
Kelsey, yeah.
And that's the thing, man. Okay, so we all know this. Kelsey's a first rounder. If you want Kelsey this year in redraft, you're getting him in the back of the first.
Yeah, he's a WR1 playing tight end, an elite WR1 playing tight end at that. So yeah, he's worth the price of a first rounder.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about
it. So obviously the first three are not debatable, right? So I kind of want to get right to Hawkinson. Or I'm sorry,
Hawkinson.
What I mean?
Oh yeah,
the hype. I mean, I have him like consensus, and then like where you have him because consensus has him at 5th. You know what I mean? Shout out to ECR, right? They got him at 5th. And I do love Mark Andrews where you have him at 4, but Hawkinson, man, I just, is it just a volume thing? Like he's the only guy there? Like, it's still Jared Goff.
I see where you're going with this. I could definitely see myself swapping those two because I feel like Hawkins is going to see more targets because with Baltimore, I think the reason Andrews could still finish ahead of him is because of the red zone looks. Like I think Andrews will score 10 to 12 touchdowns.
I think Andrews had 3 bad drops last year in the red zone.
I know, that's what contributed to kind of his down year. Yeah, well, this year I think he'll shake back, but Hawkinson, I think he'll get around 7 or 8 touchdowns, but he's gonna catch at least 80 passes, maybe more, maybe 90 something. I mean, he's gonna get so many targets because what do they have a receiver? They have no high volume guys. I mean, all they got is guys like Perryman and Tyrell Williams. Those are low volume, just go route guys. And then that rookie, the St. Brown kid, I think is going to be a great late round. Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, great late round sleeper, no doubt. Him, I think probably as far as later, him and the Fitzpatrick kid from Tennessee with so many vacated targets there. Those two guys are absolute steals right now, late in drafts.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hawk is at the end. And Kyle Pitts, if Julio gets dealt, I'm telling you now, if Julio gets dealt, Kyle Pitts is a top 5 tight end. I'll have to move him up to 4 if Julio doesn't get dealt.
Man, like, because if Julio's, or maybe we start saying when Julio's gone, then, right?
Yeah. When he's going, Kyle Pitts is going to go through the roof to 4. Definitely not over Waller or Kittle. Pump the brakes there for anyone thinking that Kyle Pitts should be in the top 3, but I definitely think he'll shoot up to 4.
Tell me about Logan Thomas here. I like Logan Thomas.
Yeah, Logan Thomas, man. I was debating.
He's a value guy too. Like that's the guy we're drafting super late.
He's a guy. Yeah, he's a guy. I was telling you, it was really close between him and Noah Fant. But I noticed Noah Fant's been getting kind of overdrafted lately because I think a lot of people are like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to Denver. Well, we don't know that. Like David Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy. Like I like those guys, but people are starting to overdraft them now because of this false narrative that Aaron Rodgers is a shoe-in to go to Denver. He's not at all a shoe-in to go to Denver. Odds are it's going to be either Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater under center. So with that fact,
even if it was Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw to the tight end. So I don't, that shouldn't even be the guy that shouldn't even bump him up. If anything, that bumps Fant down.
Well, look at Big Bob Tunyon. You know what I mean? Led the league in touchdowns at the tight end position last year. So that's probably where the upside lies, is being just the red zone target. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
yeah.
so
Won't be a volume guy.
Because Tunyon didn't get no volume for real. He just was a red zone target. You know what I mean? And here and there, he would catch like a 40-yard to the house. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I mean. Like it took him making some really big plays and plays that weren't the norm. It's not like he was. They were on the 10-yard line. They were looking for Tunyon.
Also, too, man, there was just, arguably he's the best weapon outside of, Devontae Adams is, in the passing game, you know what I mean? Or maybe the third best because Aaron Jones was dope in the passing game too. But yeah, I mean, so because that's another thing too, man, is early in the offseason, I was on Rob Tunyon, but now I'm just like, I don't think I'm going to have any of him, even though he is the guy that's going to go crazy late. You know what I mean? And I am interested in Irv Smith Jr. here, but
I love Irv Smith late. I mean, yeah, Thomas. To answer your question from earlier, he's just a rock solid option. He's very consistent. You know what you're getting, and is a great value, like in that 7th, 8th round range. Just somebody you can depend on. Because because Goddard, Jalen Hurts, Goddard's a little risky. Tunyon, I don't know where Rodgers is going.
I think Goddard. Top 6 is his floor. Like even if Ertz there, I don't care because we've seen how it was last year. And you're bringing over Sirianni, who's coming over from that Frank Reich system. They utilize the tight end a lot. I think Dallas Goedert, like as high as you are on Hurts, that was his guy last year. Granted, they have Devontae Smith now. Still, red zone looks. All that possession look, he was looking for Goddard. Like I think Goddard is one of those boys this year.
Yeah, I think he'll do fairly well. It's just he didn't all his stats with Hurts really weren't all that great. I mean, it's just Hurts.
The looks were there, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like he was actively looking for dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if Hurts gets dealt, then he'll probably move him up some. But the Eagles, the passing itself, I'm not that big on. The reason I'm that high on Hurts is because of the rushing, and then Irv Smith though, man, what a value I feel like, because if you wait on tight end, which I feel like I'm not reaching on, like Tunyon and Gesicki aren't going super high, but like I feel like compared to Irv Smith, they're probably overdrafted because Irv Smith, you can get Irv Smith a lot of times really late, and I think he's going to do quite well because Kyle Rudolph's finally gone. Kyle Rudolph, pain in the ass. Kyle Rudolph finally out of there.
Did he find a place? Did he find another team?
Yeah, the Giants. He's going to be a thorn in Evan Ingram's side now. So I definitely faded Evan Ingram this year.
Kyle Rudolph's finna be out there blocking now.
Evan Ingram, man, I don't trust that with, Danny Dimes being that whole deal was a disaster last year. So definitely taking Irv Smith over guys like Ingram and I'm trying to think of some other borderline tight ends that could maybe
How
be
about
in
Jared
there.
Cook, man? What
yeah,
about Jared Cook?
Oh, I can't do Jared Cook, man. He looked washed last year. A lot of the year, it just.
I hate Jared Cook
He
on the
had
record.
bad drops. He had bad drops.
Yeah.
He fumbled. Like he's not someone I like. I say like the Saints cat, Adam Troutman. That's someone to keep an eye on late. I know he didn't do much as a rookie, but with Cook out of Nola, like I think Troutman's definitely going to see looks, and if he lives up to expectations, could be a sneaky option for someone that I would probably just want him as like a backup tight end, but like if your TE1 would flop, then he could be somebody that could be a plug and play.
If we're talking about Russ cooking, right? And you have that new OC, I think it's Sean Walton is his name. He's coming over from Sean McVay's system. You bring over Gerald Everett. And historically, Russell Wilson, he looks to a tight end in the red zone. You know what I mean? That guy might be a nice little flyer too that can just creep up into the top 10 because it's so easy to be a top 10 tight end. You just have to like catch a few touchdowns for real. You know what I mean? Catch a few touchdowns. You have a couple 50, 60-yard games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I will say this. So it seems like this year the tight end position is a little deeper than usual. Seems like we've got more names in the mix than we usually do. I think it's going to be better. I don't think it's going to be quite as much of a wasteland as it was last year, especially with a normal offseason with that COVID offseason. We had so many injuries. So I think this year the tight end pool you'll have to actually be pretty solid this year to be a top 10 tight end.
You know what's going to be dope is another sneaky one is Gesicki because people are going to forget about him just based on the fact that they drafted all these weapons. Or not all these weapons. They drafted Jalen Waddle and they brought Will Fuller.
Yeah.
And then they even drafted another tight end. But that just tells me, okay, this middle of the field might be just that much more open for Gesicki, who was the guy he was actively looking for last year. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Tua's receivers weren't getting open or he was just he just looks short all the time. You know what I mean? He's not looking down the field. You know what I mean? And Gesicki had some big games with Tua.
Right, yeah, some people are completely fading Gesicki, but I think he's got a solid floor because Tua's not a really like a gunslinger type. So I think Gesicki's still a tight end one, yeah.
Yeah, he had those 2 games like back to back where he pretty much dominated, and then he like broke his neck, or whatever it was.
Yeah, he died in fantasy. That's what happened. And it fucked me in the playoffs.
Rest in peace. Yeah, I know, man. He had struggled. He was also so sorry. Then he got rolled. I was like, Gesicki. And then it's like, damn it. That always happens.
I dealt with Jonnu all year. And then so when I got Gesicki off the waiver, like week 10 or 11 I was hella happy. I was like, hell yeah. He had 2 solid weeks, like Huss just said. Then he died on me, man.
Yeah.
He died on me, making a phenomenal catch for me too. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Gesicki. You'll be back.
Yes.
Better days are ahead.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. Guru. Oh, actually, hold on, Huss. Is there any – what about Jared Cook to your old team, the Chargers?
So he's got to hang on to the ball. Like if he's eating popcorn before he gets out there, like he was last year, and just like getting the Butterfingers, I don't know how much they're going to be looking for him, not when – you got guys like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. You got big targets already. I feel like Jared Cook, maybe I've taken a stab on him in a couple dynasties because it's been like 40th round or like something ridiculous, like that where it's so late, doesn't even matter. Redraft, I don't double up on tight ends too much. So I probably will never have a Jared Cook, on the squad. And he's someone to look out for. If he catches a touchdown or 2, in the first couple weeks with Herbert and they got some kind of connection because now they don't have Henry, maybe he's a waiver wire guy.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and then, before we close, what's the ultimate philosophy for you guys as far as tight end in redraft? Like, 12-team PPR redraft. Are you guys at all opposed to early tight end or you guys?
The question was about early tight end. I would say,
like just what's your philosophy?
Okay, it kind of broke up a little bit there. Yeah, my philosophy on that It's all good. My philosophy is I'd say this: if the value's right, yeah, I'm taking early tight end. For example, in my mock draft last night, I got Darren Waller at the end of the third, which was a bargain. I felt like, so I'm like, hell yeah, I'm taking early tight end. I'm definitely not scared to do it, but I'm to the point where if I don't get early tight end or like somebody like in that top 6, and I'm probably gonna just wait until I can get like an Irv Smith Jr. Because then I feel like people panic pick tight ends. Like, Noah Fant gets overdrafted, Goddard, Bobby Tunyon. They all seem like they get overdrafted. So then at that point, I'm just like, I'll just wait till and get a guy like Irv or maybe even like a Gronk, just somebody that's just like, just late. And then if I do take a guy like Gronk, then pair him with a Adam Troutman, a young guy that has upside, but hopefully I can get Irv Smith. Irv Smith's my ideal late round tight end target.
Well, I like it.
I 100% of the time will go for a guy like Travis Kelce if he's available in the second round. Just 100% of the time. I won 2 championships last year. One of them was a 32-team dynasty, and the one thing that I had in common on both teams was Travis Kelce, and I cannot tell you how stressful streaming tight ends is in some of these redraft leagues. If you got Kelce, that's literally one headache that you just don't have to deal with. It's the best feeling in the world week to week.
Yeah,
man,
that is true.
And it's so crazy because I have tinkered with the Kelce, the early round, getting Kelce. Like if I'm like 11 overall and he's there, I'm even starting to feel that that's a steal right there. I'm like, damn, because he probably won't come back to me. I'm at 11 and I swing around. He's probably not coming back to me.
He could get snatched. A lot of people are going to take him at the turn. Why wouldn't you? That's such a money pick. You get a running back, and you pair him with Kelce, to start your redraft league. Like you're stoked.
Yes.
Right? Woo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Kelce, I'm telling you, bona fide first round pick. Lock it in. Every time I've had Kelce, my team's successful. Like it's never a thing where you draft Kelce high and you're like, damn it, I shouldn't have done that. He's money. Like Huss said, he's money. I love your version. I love your version there. Kelce is money.
Yes, Travis Kelce, give me money. All right, well, shit, Spencer the Guru, man. It was a pleasure, as always. Go ahead and let the Rum Boys and girls know where they can find you on all social medias. Let them know what we should expect to see from you coming out soon here. And also let them know where they can find your mock drafts, man, because that's actually how I first encountered your work. You know what I mean? I want to say, damn, they're 2 years ago now. Yeah, about a year and a half now. You know what I mean? Was doing the mock draft. So let the people know everything.
All right. Appreciate y'all. I'd say go follow on all social medias at Spencer the Guru. Y'all at Spencer the Guru. It's simple now. I used to have multiple usernames. We cut that out. It's just one unified name at Spencer the Guru. We're the hashtag Guru Nation, the most lit fantasy football community on Instagram, especially. That's where we were found. It's been on there since 2014. This is now year. Wow, we've been at this year 8. So yeah, we've been pushing, man. We've been getting this thing really rolling. So yeah, at Spencer the Guru, y'all go check it out on all social medias. We'll have a lot coming up, podcast and maybe even a Guru Nation. I was thinking about a Guru Nation network coming out soon. We're gonna have some shows and stuff. So I have to have y'all on. It's gonna be lit. Appreciate always y'all having me and coming on the Rumboyz. It's always a fun time, lit time. Dilly, y'all like to say. So yeah, it's gonna be lit, y'all. This summer is gonna be awesome. And once again, can't wait for the season. And it's gonna be great, man.
Yeah, Huss,
it's gonna be great.
Let all the people know, Huss, you know what I'm saying, about this draft kit that we got coming here.
Yeah, what up? So make sure you guys follow me on YouTube and every podcast out there, Fantasy Football Hustler, and go get in the Hustler community, patreon.com/FFHustler420. As Bogart said, we got the draft kit coming out. We got over 700 player profiles. It's broken down into up of 4 years worth of stats. We got all the averages. We got it broken down by scoring type. So if you're in a standard league, which you probably won't be if you play with us, but if you're in that, we got that. If If you plan 1.0 PPR or half point PPR, we got the breakdown for every single player, every single scoring type, and we got Bogart's rankings that are about to be updated very, very soon. So you got to get over to patreon.com/FFHustler420. Go get signed up on the superstar tier or higher. And yeah, you're going to have access to this all the way through the season because Bogart's rankings are going to be on there throughout the season as well. So you ready to make some money? Ready to get that money?
Oh, you already know. You know what I'm saying?
Now's the time.
Yeah, and you already know y'all can find me at the GMM Network on IG and Twitter. You can also subscribe to the GMM Network on YouTube. We coming back in full force. I'm literally just waiting for this baby to pop, and then I'm like, okay, once I get settled down, then I'm firing the GMM back up. But still, till then, you can always find me here sailing the Fantasy 7 Seas with all the crew at the Rumboyz. Be sure to subscribe. Once again, shout out to our sponsors, Monkey Knife Fight, promo code Rumboyz. Go download SportsMe. Hey, close that thing out, my brother.
Peace out, everybody.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man.
Can I roll some? Can I keep it lit? Can I smoke some? Can I be about it quick? Can I